This month of March is going to be pretty intense. We have the start of our eclipse season for 2025, wrapping up 2023 and also continuing this new cycle and wave of energy that will carry us in to 2027. We have a couple of prominent retrogrades happening this month, with Venus stationing retrograde and also Mercury stationing retrograde. So two of our most personal planets are going to be starting their retrograde period. Venus will station retrograde in Aries at the beginning of the month and then move back into Pisces towards the end of the month. Venus does stay retrograde for around 40 days each time, and the last time we did have a Venus retrograde was in 2023, but we'll get further into that later on in the video. We also have some very intense eclipses. So the middle of the month we do have a prominent eclipse happening in the sign of Virgo. We haven't had an eclipse in Virgo yet. The last eclipses we had in Virgo and on the Pisces Virgo axis was in 2015 to 2017, also going back even further to 2006 and 2007. We did start off this eclipse axis at the end of last year, so we might start seeing some themes that maybe were coming up for us towards the end of last year. And we also are wrapping up the end of the month with not only a new moon solar eclipse happening in Aries, which is wrapping up our Libra Aries axis eclipses for the past few years, which started in 2023. We also have Neptune finally moving out of its home sign of Pisces into Aries at the end of this month. Now, this is a big deal. This is a huge shift in energy, which is starting to usher us in to this new phase of basically the collective in general that we've been kind of feeling building and bubbling to the surface with the start of these outer planet changes, with Pluto moving into Aquarius. So this month is going to be intense. Hold on for the ride. It's a really pretty fiery start to the beginning of the Astrological New Year. So if you'd like to see where this energy is happening for you, please keep on watching and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But let's get into the rest of this video. Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex. I'm an astrologer based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and in today's video I'm going to be going through the astrological energy for March 2025. It has been a little bit of a hiatus I've taken from YouTube, so I thought why not better to come back to YouTube with a forecast, especially starting off the Astrological New Year, which obviously starts in March with Aries season. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at all of the planetary transits and energies, especially the key planetary energies that are happening in March, and then we'll look at each individual rising sign and what the month has in store for you. So you can watch that section of the video for your sun, moon and rising to get a full picture of what the month's energy may have in store for you. But just as a bit of a heads up, I have switched up the format for my monthly forecasts. Instead of looking at every single aspect that the planets are making throughout the month, I'm just going to be focusing on the key planetary energies. So it's going to be a lot more condensed, a little bit shorter, so it's a lot easier to listen to and to understand what will be happening throughout the month. So if you aren't already, please feel free to subscribe and like this video, and feel free to leave me a comment. Let me know what videos you would like to see this year, if you'd like to learn more about astrology and how to look at your own chart and understand areas of your own chart, or different timing techniques. Let me know in the comment box below. I might start making some more educational videos this year. So without further ado, let's get into this month's energies. So kicking off this month, we have Venus stationing retrograde in Aries on the 2nd of March. Now, I do use New Zealand Standard Time, so all time formats and date formats, please adjust to where you are based in the world. So Venus will station retrograde in Aries at 1:36 p.m. at 10 degrees and 50 minutes of Aries. Now, this Venus retrograde will continue on to the 14th of April, where she will station direct. Now, we haven't had a Venus retrograde since July 23rd, 2023, so it has been a little while since we've had a Venus retrograde. So if you do have your natal Venus in Aries, you will probably feel this energy quite intensely. If you're an Aries rising, you might feel this energy quite intensely, or if you have strong Aries placements, you're likely going to feel this, especially as well if you have a strong Pisces placements, or if you're a Pisces rising, because Venus will retrograde back into the sign of Pisces at the end of the month. So during a Venus retrograde, we want to make sure we're not adjusting our appearance in any way. If we do, we just need to be aware that it might turn out different to what we had expected, or we might come out on the other side of the Venus retrograde and not quite enjoying the changes that we made. So if you do any physical changes to your appearance, which you're always free to do whatever you want and do have free will, just be aware that you may want to adjust things, so maybe don't make too permanent changes if you can avoid it. So all up, this Venus retrograde is going to be maybe helping us to reassess our relationships, to reassess where we are financially in our life, where we want to reassess maybe how we are appearing. If you do have your natal Venus in retrograde, you're likely already quite aware of this energy. This energy will probably actually be quite nice for you. You might find this whole Venus retrograde just a really great time to just take a bit of a step away from maybe some things you're doing or relationships you're doing, to focus on yourself. Maybe you're just able to maybe express yourself easier, because if you do have your natal Venus in retrograde, you maybe express your love language is a little bit more internally or not so outwardly expressed as others might do with a non-retrograde Venus in their birth chart. So this Venus retrograde is just important to reassess how we're feeling. Where are we at within our relationships? Where are we at with our finances? How can we just look at our goals that we might have set maybe last year, especially around eclipses last year, especially with Venus being in Aries? We're wrapping up this Aries cycle. This is what this month of March is really about, is just wrapping up that 2023, 24 and into 2025. That energy, we're kind of putting a bow on it, so to speak, and just kind of wrapping up and closing off that chapter of our life. Maybe things have really changed for you since 2023, like especially when it comes to relationships, when it comes to your finances. Wherever Aries is in your chart, I would say likely has gone through quite a shift and a change. So this Venus retrograde could just be re-highlighting that, and just sort of taking acknowledgement of where you've come and how far you've come, and maybe where it is you want to be and how far it is you want to go, and how you can get there. Just reassessing where you're at. Then on the 3rd of March, we do have Mercury moving into Aries, which does also signify the start of the Mercury retrograde shadow period. So Mercury will station retrograde later this month. So you may, if you're quite sensitive to Mercury retrogrades, like if you are a Gemini rising or a Virgo rising, or you have strong Virgo or Gemini placements, you're likely someone, or if you're going through a Mercury ruled year, you're likely someone who maybe feels Mercury retrogrades, especially Mercury retrograde stations or shadow periods specifically, a little bit more intensely than others. You might feel this more so than the Mercury retrograde period. So just a caution around the 3rd, and basically for the rest of this month is going to be a little tricky communication wise with Mercury. Then on the 14th, we do have our first eclipse of 2025. This eclipse is happening in the sign of Virgo, and it's happening at 7:54 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time at 23 degrees and 56 minutes of Virgo. So this is the first eclipse we're having in Virgo. Like I said, at the beginning of the video since 2015 or 2017, and then back even further from 2006 to 2008. So we are sort of these cycles that we might have had, maybe big shifts and changes in our lives. Have a think back to those time periods. Were there anything specific that stood out for you that was maybe more challenging, or maybe you went through a bit of a spiritual awakening during that time? Maybe you connected with just spirituality in general, just maybe you were more aware of it, or maybe you sort of started on certain journeys. I know for me personally, 2015 was a very interesting year for this kind of energy. So I know a lot of people sort of felt that around this time. So it's very interesting that this is going to be coming up this year when we have a lot of very prominent transits that will be happening through the sign of Pisces and activating this axis as well. So looking at this eclipse energy, we have Saturn, the North Node, obviously it's an eclipse, and Neptune. Neptune is going to be moving out of Pisces. So this is kind of like this last kind of, it's going to move in and out of Pisces and Aries for a little bit, but it is kind of like this last hurrah, so to speak, with Neptune being in its home sign, being so prominently in this eclipse. It's within a few degrees. It's at the 29th degree, the anaretic degree, a very challenging energy, a very ending energy. So something new is coming up. Some cycle is coming to a close. This, I feel like, is quite a nice eclipse. It doesn't feel as challenging. It could be unexpected. We do have some positive aspects made to Uranus and Taurus around the time of this lunar eclipse. So it could just be unveiling to us something that we're ready to let go of. Something maybe unexpected is coming to a final end. We're ready to just let go of that part of ourselves. Obviously, a full moon is a time of culmination. It's a time of really identifying what cycles are coming to a close for us. Where are we sort of ending something so that at the new moon we can create that space to call in something new. So with the moon in Virgo, we're looking at things that maybe we're decluttering areas in our lives. Maybe we're organizing areas in our lives. Maybe we're reassessing how we communicate and express ourselves. If you have strong Virgo and Pisces energy in your chart, you're likely going to feel this eclipse quite personally. I feel like as a collective, we're really going to be feeling this energy quite personally. We have Saturn really involved in this energy. Obviously, Saturn in Pisces is an energy that we're all quite familiar with because it has been in Pisces for a few years now. So it's going to be making its transit out of Pisces this year. So this is, again, this final hurrah of Saturn being in Pisces too. Saturn and Neptune are going to conjoin in Aries later this year. So again, we're kind of having this final push for this Piscean energy. There's this shift and a fated change that will be coming through to us, this new energy that will be showing up in our lives. Maybe we're reassessing how we connect with spirituality in our lives, how we identify within the collective, how we are connected to others in a way that maybe doesn't feel so authentic to us anymore. How are we tuning into this divine energy that we all are connected to, whether we are conscious of it or not? Maybe we're becoming more conscious of things in our lives that we have more control over than we think, or maybe we're just surrendering to actually we don't really have that much control in our lives. So it's kind of like just maybe we're holding on to something too much. Maybe we're this Virgo energy. Virgo is very much wanting to be organized, wanting to be quite regimented. Maybe we're just letting go of the structures we've placed in our lives. Maybe we're letting go of this perfectionistic mindset that we might have had over certain areas in our life that we're like, hold on a minute, this doesn't feel good anymore. Maybe I need to appreciate the flow of life rather than trying to structure it in a way that's very regimented. Maybe I do need to create some structure in my life in order to enjoy my time more. Maybe I do need to have this. So it's kind of like maybe either too much or we need more. Saturn suggests that we need more because Saturn is all about structure. Saturn is all about routine. Saturn is all about having a plan, and being in Pisces, which is the boundless energy, is challenging for Saturn. So it's a bit tricky. Like it's a nice full moon, but we do also have a lot of retrograde energy. We have Mars that is still in its retrograde shadow period. It has stationed direct. It is forming a nice trine to this eclipse, which does suggest to me that we are positively letting go of something, that we're positively severing our lives from something that doesn't align with us anymore. We're ready to finally let that go. Obviously, Mars has been a big ruler within the last eclipses that we've had because Mars does rule Aries. So maybe we're ready for this new chapter to come into our life. We're really positively energized and inspired to create new goals. We're ready to finally wrap up in a minute the Aries energy in our charts that has been highlighted to us all throughout the past few years. We're ready to step into this next phase. Uranus, again, bringing that unexpected positive energy. Maybe things are working out better, or situations will show up more positively unexpectedly. It worked out better than we thought it might have. And just a reminder that anything happening around the eclipse time could give you an indication of what will happen over the next 6 months, because eclipse energy does take about 6 months to manifest and show up in our lives in a tangible way. We have Venus still in retrograde, well, she's just turned retrograde in Aries, and we do have Mercury in its shadow period, in its retrograde shadow period. So a lot of this energy that's happening now will likely be revisited later on. So put a pin in it. Whatever's coming up now could just rear its head later on down the line when both of those planets do station direct and move forward following their retrograde shadow period. So this eclipse looks positive, it looks unexpected, and it could just be just a refreshing viewpoint that we've maybe not had yet, or we're just seeing things through a different lens that we haven't quite thought of before. On the 15th of March, Mercury will station retrograde in Aries at 9 degrees and 35 minutes of Aries at 8:46 a.m. New Zealand Standard Time. So, as always, with Mercury retrograde, just allow time for delays in travel, allow time for things that just might go wrong. We may express ourselves in a way we don't necessarily mean to. Mercury in Aries is very fast acting. Maybe we're needing to slow down ourselves a little bit. We're just going too quick too soon. Mercury retrogrades are a time where you just want to double, triple check anything. If you're signing in important documents, have someone else look over it, read the fine print, and get insurance if you're buying a big ticket item, because it could be issues with it, especially if it is to do with a vehicle. So that aside, Mercury will be in its retrograde period until the 8th of April. So we've got a little few more days with Mercury in retrograde still. So if you are doing any travel, just be cautious. There could be delays, so just have a contingency plan in place should things shift and change. On the 20th of March, the Sun will move into Aries. So happy birthday season to all the Aries Sun signs out there. This is your time to shine. The Sun does enjoy being in Aries, so this is your time to enjoy it and just treat yourself. It also signifies the start of the Astrological New Year. So as we know, Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. That for us, that does signify the Astrological New Year and the shifting and changing of the wheel, of the astrological wheel, into this new season. And so this is a fresh start. This is a fresh start, but also I feel like this Aries season is a wrapping up, a finishing up for this new start that we're stepping into this year, following the shifting and changing of the nodes, which we'll look at this final eclipse that is happening in Aries in a few days. But before the eclipse, on the 27th of March, we do have Venus moving back into the sign of Pisces. So this will happen at 9:40 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. So with Venus retrograding through Pisces, maybe we're just revisiting some energy that was coming up for us at the beginning of the year. Maybe we're just tuning into our creativity more, our spirituality more. How are we investing time and energy and resources into maybe not only ourselves but the collective? How are we making a difference in other people's lives and our relationships around us in a truly deep and meaningful way? These could be themes that could be coming up for us with this Venus retrograding through Pisces. Then on the 29th of March, we have the new moon solar eclipse, the final one happening in Aries for a while, happening at 11:58 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time at 9 degrees and 0 minutes of Aries. So it's in this very Aries Mars ruled energy. So at the time of this new moon solar eclipse, we have a lot of Aries and Piscean energy. We have Mercury, the Sun and the Moon, and Chiron in the sign of Aries. So it's very condensed. We've got a personal planet that is retrograding in Aries right now. How we're communicating and expressing ourselves is slowed down a little bit. This new moon solar eclipse is a time of healing. We're finally letting go of how far we've come these past few years. I know personally it's been a massive shift and change for me. I know a lot of people who have been going through this as well. So if you look back to early 2023 when the nodes did shift into Aries and Libra, think back to where you were at that time and where are you now? How far have you come? You should be very proud of yourself for getting through challenging times. It's been a very testing energy, and this eclipse is just highlighting for us where we need to let go, where we wanted to be, and maybe where we're at is different, but that's okay. Maybe we just need to reassess and just maybe look at how far we've come in our healing journey too. We've had Chiron very involved in this Aries energy these past few years, so this is also a similar case at the time of this eclipse energy, although not in a tight conjunction. Chiron is still in Aries. So there is this sense of deep inner wound and healing around the time of this new moon. New moons are a time of rest and surrender rather than the full moon, which is very much a time of outwardly energy. This is a very internal, very surrendering, very more subtle, deeper energy. So we might be feeling the need to just withdraw. We've got two personal planets in retrograde right now. We're maybe needing to just pull back a little bit and just have a more subtle and more private sort of time around the time of this eclipse. Maybe we're just needing to just withdraw from society for a little bit just to get through this energy. Something could be coming up that could be quite triggering for us. Mars is squaring this energy, and obviously Mars rules Aries. Mars in Cancer is squaring this new moon. And is also squaring Chiron. So it could be really triggering. We could be really triggered and really feeling like really aggravated around the time of this new moon, or things down the line 6 months time could be coming up to really trigger this energy for us, because like I said earlier, eclipse energy is going to show up more tangibly 6 months down the track rather than right now. We could be feeling it right now, but it will likely show up for us in a tangible way in about 6 months time. So Mars is still in its retrograde shadow period, so things from the past could be coming up to haunt us, so to speak. We could just be triggered by people's energies. We could be triggered by conversations that could be coming up around this time. Maybe we're having some tough conversations that we're needing to separate ourselves from. Maybe we're needing to take a step back from our family in some way. This eclipse is also making a positive sextile to Jupiter in Gemini, who is also just stationed direct last month, which is also moving out of its retrograde shadow period. So things could be blowing up out of proportion. Jupiter expands anything it touches, so we could be feeling like things are maybe bigger and happening more intensely than we thought it possibly would, or maybe we're just having big emotions around this time. Maybe we're having big insights, or we're just having some really deep and meaningful conversations that are maybe opening our mindset and broadening our perspective in some way. We're likely feeling just expanded in some sense. Maybe we're just really just appreciating how far we've come and how much we've achieved over the past few years. So this is a nice energy. It's not very challenging, but it could just be expanding and aggravating or intensifying things that we're maybe already feeling. Uranus will be forming a sextile to Venus and Mars. At this time, Venus and Mars will also be forming a trine. So there's this like mini grand trine happening, which is really nice around the time of this eclipse. So this could just be a positive spin on more challenging situation. Maybe we are receiving some unexpected news, or we just got some unexpected motivation to do something. We're maybe motivated in a way that we maybe weren't expecting. Uranus is still trine the north node, trine the south node, and sextile the north node as well. So we could could just be feeling this unexpected drive for this new energy that we're calling in, or this new situation that could be coming into our life as well. So this eclipse is the wrapping up energy. Endings aren't always easy. Endings can be challenging. So this could be quite a challenging end to this more difficult energy that we have been experiencing. If you have strong Aries or Libra placements, or strong Pisces or Virgo placements, you could be feeling this energy quite intensely as well. So then moving on to the 30th of March, Mercury retrograde will regress back into Pisces. So this will be happening at 3:18 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. So have a think back to, again, last month. So maybe we're wanting to communicate and express ourselves in a way that feels more authentic, or feels more tuning into our creativity. Mercury doesn't do its best in Pisces, but it's a wonderful energy for getting creative. So maybe the projects we were working on when Mercury was transiting through Pisces, maybe we're just revisiting these again. Maybe we're tuning into our creativity more in a way through a new set of eyes, or just revisiting something, or just wanting to get out there, or maybe wanting to have conversations that we can be more deep and vulnerable and express ourselves in a way that we maybe felt a little bit closed off to before. And then finally, on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into the sign of Aries. Now, Neptune is a further out planet, but when our outer planets do shift signs, it's a big deal. It doesn't happen very often. Neptune in Aries is an interesting energy. Neptune is boundless. Neptune is about deception. It's a bit of a deceiving energy. It's like a foggy influence on our society, on ourselves, on our lives. It's this energy of looking through a haze and not quite seeing the clear picture. Aries is a motivating energy. It's a headstrong energy. It's a cardinal fire energy. So things and how we perceive reality is likely going to be a bit blurry and a bit fuzzy and a bit not quite how we had been perceiving it before. There's some sort of maybe a bit of rose-colored glasses that we might put on as well. Maybe we're just feeling more creatively inspired than we had before. The energy of Neptune in Aries could be inspiring us to be more in tune with our spirituality, to be such a spiritual warrior, so to speak, and to be advocating for those that maybe can't advocate for themselves. On the flip side, this energy could be very much centered around individualism. People in the collective is likely viewing life through the lens of individuality. So it's really important to ensure we're not just thinking about ourselves, but thinking about the collective in general. We kind of felt this energy with the North Node in Aries these past few years. It's very much been this individualistic energy. So this energy of Neptune in Aries, it's important we don't put one person or our individual selves on a pedestal. It's important that we still consider the collective within how we're viewing the world in general, not just viewing things from a very individualistic mindset. Boundaries will also be an important energy with this transit of Neptune and Aries. We might struggle to identify boundaries with Saturn in Pisces. This has been a lesson for us, but I feel like with Neptune and Aries, boundaries is going to be a really big thing too. Ensuring that we have clear and set boundaries within our lives, within ourselves, because we might feel like things are blurring the boundaries that we have set, or feel like things are just being sort of not quite clear and clean cut with our boundaries in our lives with Neptune and Aries. Another big thing with Neptune transiting the sign of Aries, it will be important that we don't present a false image of ourselves. So we might feel like we can sort of project this image of ourselves that's maybe not necessarily us, but then we identify it. We end up identifying with this false persona. So it'll be interesting to see as a collective, we might see more virtual avatars of ourselves that we then start identifying with more than who we are really on a deep personal level. Be interesting. Neptune's a long transit in Aries. All of these energies aren't going to show up all at once, but this could be an interesting and prominent energy to where society will sort of grow and shift and change over the next few years. Neptune won't be in Aries predominantly this year. It will sort of, like I said, go back and forth between Pisces and Aries. It will, however, fully shift into Aries on January 26th, 2026. So if you'd like to see where this energy is happening for you based on your rising sign, keep on watching. So for Aries and Aries rising, this month of March will be focusing on your sense of self, your identity, but also the need and call to isolate and potentially do things or spend time alone or focus on things behind the scenes. This month feels like you're going through a bit of an identity shift and crisis, more so than the past 18 months with the North Node in your first house of self. With the North Node have recently moved into your 12th house of Pisces, there is this call to possibly reinvent or shift and change your perspective on the world around you. Around the beginning of the month, with Venus turning retrograde in your first house, along with Mercury moving into your first house of self, there's going to be some sort of refocusing on your identity. There's going to be something that's coming up for you to revisit, shift, and change in some way. I wouldn't recommend undergoing a permanent shift or change to your appearance while Venus is in retrograde in your first house, because this could lead to something changing in a way that you maybe didn't really want it to, or wanted to go that way, or maybe you change your mind on how you view this change that you've made when Venus does station direct next month. The lunar eclipse will be happening in your Pisces 12th house on the 14th of March. This is the second eclipse on this axis of your 12th and 6th house for you. So you're likely already seeing some changes and shifts that might have been happening and letting go of certain work routines or health regimes that may have felt good to you before, but now you're really ready to let go of what's not serving you, or it's fatedly coming through for you to let go of something to do with this area in life. And maybe you're actually refocusing on your connection with your spirituality, your connection with your 12th house, with the house that is hidden. Maybe you're wanting to spend time more alone and really focusing on things that are happening behind the scenes and working on things in private more before sharing them until they're ready to be shared with the world around you. This lunar eclipse in your Virgo 6th house will be really identifying and bringing to the surface those health regimes, those maybe eating regimes, those just well-being and health in general, those daily routines, that work-life balance, that work routine, your co-workers. There could be some important changes coming here for you. This axis is also the axis of service. So how are you being of service to others, and how are you being of service to yourself? Are you being of service too much to those around you, especially in a work sense, where you need to maybe withdraw a little bit and focus on more things, focus on what is lighting you up spiritually, emotionally, or even creatively? Maybe you just needed to take some time aside to really undergo this bit of shift and change in identity, or this identity sort of change that you may have been going through already, but is now really being highlighted this month for you. With Mercury stationing retrograde on the 15th of March in your first house of self, this is something that's going to really again reaffirm that you're really going through this personality shift, this personal shift, this change. Just something is coming up that you're ready to really shed these old layers of yourself, ready to emerge in from this transformative cocoon in a way over these past few years, maybe into the next year's coming. You're ready to maybe become that person finally that you have been wanting to become. Now you're taking the steps you need to get there. So whatever has been coming up through the beginning of the year, especially last month, is going to likely come back up to the surface this month. So if you had any important things that came up for you personally, this could be coming up again for you to look at. It's likely unfinished business in the air for you, Aries rising. On the 20th of March, the Sun will also move into your first house of self. So this month, as you know, is always quite an intense month for you. It's also the start of the Astrological New Year and a real focus on you this month, Aries. So with this positive energy and this vibrant energy moving into your first house, this is a great opportunity to really put those goals into place and put those goals into motion and put those ideas onto paper and just really re-look at what it is you're really wanting to shift and change, because then not long after that, on the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will be happening in your first house. Now, this is the last eclipse happening in your first house, so this is likely an eclipse that is kind of wrapping it up with a nice neat bow for you. Whatever you've been working on, whatever you've been working towards, this is the eclipse that's kind of like the end point. Now it's time to sort of wrap that up and focus on this new phase that you're moving into. You've likely gone through a huge shift and change already to do with your identity and your relationships, especially your partnerships in your life. Things have gone through a big change for you, Aries rising, and now you're ready to maybe take some time away to kind of process and implement those changes, maybe to really embody those changes that you've been going through, but you need some space to really implement what you need to implement. And this is what these next eclipses are going to be identifying for you too, starting with that lunar eclipse in Virgo earlier this month. Before the new moon solar eclipse on the 29th, Venus will be regressing back into your Pisces 12th house. On the 27th of March, Mercury will regress back into your Pisces 12th house, again really reaffirming this need to maybe take some time aside, maybe not sort of share any news just yet. Don't share those ideas just yet. Let them nurture them a little bit, let them grow legs, so to speak, let them gain some traction before you start putting those ideas out into the world. Keep things a little bit private for now, Aries rising. I know that's not always easy, but just keep things a little bit under wraps for the time being until things start moving out of your 12th and 1st houses. On the 30th of March, Mercury will also move back into your Pisces 12th house. So again, communicating and expressing those ideas, those relationships with Venus recently have moved back into your Pisces 12th house, keeping things under wraps for the time being until they've fully started to gain traction is going to be a key theme for you this month, Aries rising. Then on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your first house. Now, Neptune is the planet of deception, is the planet of illusionment, but also creativity and spirituality. So again, Aries rising, this does indicate to me that you're going through a very spiritual change and awakening and shift in some way, this identity shift. With Neptune in the first house, you're able to shape shift potentially into certain different energies that might be available to you. Maybe you are feeling more it will feel a little bit different with this energy moving into your first house. Now, it's not going to stay there permanently. It is going to move back into your Pisces 12th house again and then move back into your first house over the next couple of years until later on when it does sort of station in your house for the next 7-ish years. So this is a longer transit, so you might not feel it straight away, but you might just feel like you're able to maybe identify with parts of yourself that maybe weren't visible to you before. Maybe you are embodying that more spiritual energy. Maybe you're just getting in tune with your spirituality, whatever that looks like for you. Or you're just taking on some more creative ways of presenting yourself in ways that maybe people weren't expecting, keeping people guessing, Aries rising. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Aries and Aries rising. Guidance. You have been divinely guided. I think that is so spot on for you, Aries rising. I do feel like you are being divinely guided this month and into next month, especially with the North Node in your 12th house of Pisces. I feel like these next few months and years are going to feel like you are quite divinely guided with that North Node of fate in your 12th house of spirituality. So all up for you, Aries rising. This will be a month of needing to be behind the scenes a little bit more. Maybe you're going through this shift and change in your appearance or in how you appear in the world, and that's going to be really highlighted again for you this month. So for Taurus and Taurus rising, this month of March will be focusing on your 11th house and your 12th house. There's going to be something that's coming up to do with your connections, your networks, your social circles, as well as maybe healing something or closing something off or spending time aside and maybe in some isolation to process these changes or endings that could be coming up for you. The beginning of the month, Venus, your chart ruler, will be stationing retrograde in your 12th house of Aries. Aries. So this will be identifying something that needs to come to a close or an end, possibly to do with your sense of self, or possibly to do with even health routines that might need to come to a close or shift and change in some way. There could be some things that might be coming up for you to maybe revisit, to do with your relationships or networking circles or social circles, with Venus then moving in to your 11th house later this month. And the 3rd of March, Mercury will also move into your Aries 12th house, indicating there might be some conversations or networking that's happening in private for you that is to do with these changes that are happening to your networking circles, your social circles, is going to be, again, a huge theme for you this year. This is because you have the North Node in Pisces in your 11th house, really making the 11th house a key theme and house for you over the next coming months and into next year. Then on the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse in Virgo will be happening in your 5th house. So there could be some shifts and changes, maybe some closing off or endings to do with maybe some romantic partnerships, maybe some romantic relationships. There could be some shifts and changes to do with your children in your life. Maybe things are coming to a close or an end for them. Maybe you're just shifting and changing certain networking or relationships. You're just sort of ending them or finishing them up. You're removing yourself from situations that no longer feel in alignment for you. This might not happen straight away. Again, eclipses energy happens over the next 6 months. Could be something to keep in mind over the next 6 months that could be coming up to be a key focus for you. On the 15th of March, Mercury will station retrograde in your Aries 12th house. So again, these conversations that are happening in private, whatever is coming up conversational wise, maybe some travel plans or just anything communication or thought process, or even study that you're kind of focusing on or doing right now, could be coming up to the surface to revisit over the next few weeks until Mercury moves out of its shadow period and stations direct. Then on the 20th of March, the Sun will also move into Aries 12th house. So again, this month is going to be a focusing on really being again behind the scenes and focusing your energy inward rather than being external with whatever is happening. Keeping things a little bit private until they're ready to gain traction is going to be quite a key theme, I feel, for this month for most people, but especially for yourself, Taurus rising, for Aries rising, these kind of signs, especially with having the 12th house being so prominent for you, Taurus rising, this month is going to be a focus on keeping things a little bit more private. Then on the 27th of March, Venus will move back into your Pisces 11th house. So whatever those situations that maybe came to a close or are coming to a close, this could be the time when you're actually revisiting them, or you're maybe identifying the ones that do need to come to a close, especially that maybe aren't aligning with your new found goals or these new things that you're wanting to call into your life, the relationships that could be holding you back. It's finally time to close them off. 29th of March, there is the new moon solar eclipse happening in your Aries 12th house, finally wrapping up this eclipse cycle that was happening within your 6th and 12th houses over the past couple of years. So this is that final close, that final wrapping it up in a nice bow. This is something's coming to an end here. The 12th house is a house of ending. So whatever is coming up, these challenging situations that have made you to focus on some sort of healing, could be mental health healing, could be actual healing in a hospital, could be spending time with in rehab or things like this. Whatever you have had come up for you over these past few years is now, this is the final end. So like the next 6 months is going to see this closing up and new things to focus on. You're finally moving out of that time of isolation, Taurus rising, and you're starting to put yourself out there a little bit more. You're starting to connect with people, get yourself in front of people, connect and network with people, get in one of those social circles that are really going to help you evolve, not only physically and goal wise, but also spiritually, and really connect with communities that really bring out the best in you. I feel like that, and are in it for the long haul. I feel like that's going to be the next few years goals for you, Taurus rising. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury will move also back into your Pisces 11th house. So conversations that could have been, happening at the beginning of last month or into last month are now likely potentially coming back up to the surface to revisit. Maybe situations or events that were happening could be coming up again for you to look at or speak about, or just make sure you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's. It's Mercury retrograde in Pisces. It's a little bit tricky. Things are a little bit muddled, and not quite clear. So just keep that in mind if you're planning anything. And on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your 12th house of Aries. So it'll be moving out of your 11th house of social circles and into your 12th house of the hidden house, the house of endings, the house of parts of society that are not quite visible. So you could notice that your dreams become more intense. You maybe are having these spiritual downloads or sort of things pop up for you that maybe you weren't privy to before, or maybe you're just thinking that your mental health might be not so clear, or you are gaining clarity on certain things, or you are just feeling like you're able to maybe shift and change. Maybe your perspective, your internal world, internal monologue might be changing and shifting in a way that maybe you hadn't experienced before. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Taurus and Taurus rising. Gratitude, appreciate present blessings. I think that's really beautiful because the 11th house is also the house of hopes, dreams and wishes. So having gratitude for what you already have in your life, Taurus rising, is going to bring more of that. Being grateful for what we already have and grateful for just the opportunities that come through to us is so important in manifesting more opportunities and just having a good outlook and mindset. So gratitude is key for you this month, Taurus and Taurus rising. But all up this month is again going to be a focus on maybe keeping things a little bit behind the scenes and keeping things a little bit private until they start to gain traction. Refocusing on your relationships, especially your networking and social circles, and maybe ending or letting go of potentially a romantic partnership that is no longer alignment, or friendship that is no longer alignment and might be holding you back from where it is you're wanting to go. For Gemini and Gemini rising, this month of March will be a focus on your 10th house and your 11th house. Your career is likely undergoing a shift and change in a very dramatic and fated way, with the North Node recently moved into your 10th house of Pisces. Beginning of the month, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your 11th house of social networks and connections, so there could be some relationships or networking or social circles that come up for you to revisit and review. Maybe finances is going to come up for you to do with connecting and networking in social circles. Maybe you're just revisiting how you're putting yourself out there, the people you're connecting with, and are they aligning with the goals that you've shifted and changed and set for yourself while the North Node was transiting this house for you over the past couple of years. Maybe you're just looking at the relationships that you do have in your life and how you can really capitalize and maximize them to really help get you to where you want to be. Then on the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries 11th house. Now, Mercury will be in its shadow period, and Mercury is your chart ruler. So just a heads up, this month may be a little bit spicy for you, Gemini rising. So with Mercury in your 11th house of connections, there could be conversations that you're having with people that help you feel really driven and motivated and passionate to where it is you want to be heading, to connecting and getting you in front of the right people that are going to help you get on the path that you want to be on, especially to do with your hopes, dreams and wishes. This has been a huge focus for you these past few years. Now with the North Node finally in your 10th house, you're kind of ready to put those wheels into motion, those plans into motion, and kind of get things going. But I feel like March is kind of pulling you back before it expands you forward. Then on the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 4th house. So there could be some shifts, changes, things happening to do with your home and family life that is maybe realigning you to do with your career. Maybe you're just needing to find that balance a bit more and maybe really working on putting yourself out there more. Maybe you are have been holding yourself back in a way, and now it's time to really put yourself out there in front of people, really celebrate your achievements and really put your projects out there. I feel like whatever you achieve and you publicly achieve this year is going to be for the long haul. This is because Saturn is still in your 10th house of Pisces. Saturn will be heavily involved in this eclipse as well, so I feel like the next 6 months is going to be really impactful for the longevity of your career. Then on the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 11th house. This will again bring into the surface any conversations, plans, things to do with your sense of self. You may find that you're needing to just pull back a little bit, hold off a little bit. You do have Jupiter in your first house, which is nice, but it could be aggravating this energy a little bit. So just to be cautious of this, Jupiter will be making a nice sextile to this energy. However, it could just really expand this energy too. Then on the 20th of March, the Sun will move into your Aries 11th house. So again, identifying and highlighting your hopes, dreams and wishes and your networking connections. This is month of March is likely going to be a lot of planning, a lot of like setting the groundwork, networking, revisiting or reaching out to people that conversations may have gone cold a little bit, just like reconnecting with people that will really help you progress forward in your goals. Because then also on the 27th, Venus will regress back into your Pisces 10th house. So again, identifying things to do with your career, your public achievements. Venus is retrograde, so it is like revisiting things might come back up to the surface or come back up in front of people where things gain traction a bit more. Maybe you're getting a lot more appreciation for work you've done in the past, so this is a nice energy for you being in such a public house. Venus also loves being in Pisces. Then on the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will be happening in your Aries 11th house. This is wrapping up those past couple of years that you've been going through, wrapping up that energy to do with your hopes, dreams and wishes, those goals and changes and shifts and refocusing that you've been doing or had been doing these past couple of years. This is coming to an end. The next 6 months is really putting an end and moving on from these things that have been coming up and moving into a time where you're really focusing on putting your work out there and getting the recognition that you've been working so hard to receive. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury retrograde will be regressing back into your Pisces 10th house. So again, conversations to do with your career, conversations to do with your work, to do with your public projects is likely coming to the surface. Then on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your Aries 11th house. This is a lovely energy to get really creative with your goals, hopes, dreams and wishes, and connecting with people that really light you up and help you grow spiritually, or you really connect with in a really spiritually creative way. Neptune is a really creative planet, so it's giving you a lot of creativity when it comes to achieving your goals and hopes, dreams and wishes. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you and a message for you this month, Gemini rising. This is perfect. The star. Now it says blessings, inspiration, time to shine. It is your time to shine this year, Gemini rising, with Jupiter in your first house, and Jupiter will be squaring your 10th house a little bit, but it's still going to be, it's a positive. We'll take it. It's still a really nice energy. I feel like this month of March, again, I do feel like this is a month where it's like the start of something big. It's the start of really getting there. You've really been working so hard with the North Node in your 11th house of Aries these past few months and years. It's now really time to get those fruits of your hard working labor finally to fruition. So all up for you, Gemini rising. This will be a month of focusing on your career, your hopes, dreams and wishes, and really getting your work out there and starting the process of getting things that you've been working so hard on in front of the right people. So for Cancer and Cancer rising, this month will be a month of focusing on your 9th and your 10th house. The North Node recently moving into your 9th house of Pisces, this will be a month of focusing on travel, legalities, or connecting with people from a foreign culture in some way. This is going to be a big theme that will be coming up for you over the next few months, 18 months or so, but it will be really coming up for a focus this month, especially with the eclipse happening in your 3rd house. At the beginning of the month, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 10th house, so this will be a little challenging when it comes to your career and public achievements. Maybe you're feeling the love is not so much there for you right now, Cancer rising. This could just be refocusing on maybe your networking or your connections to do with your career. Maybe you're just refocusing on projects that you've spent a lot of time and investing a lot of energy into. Maybe you're just refocusing on them. This is a time to just really take note and take stock of what it is you've achieved and really maybe appreciating how far you've come. On the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries 10th house, and it will be in its shadow retrograde period. So just to be cautious of this. So whatever is coming up now for you with Mercury moving into your 10th house, the conversations that you could be having to do with your career or projects that you've been working on could be coming up again for revisitation into this month and next month. Then on the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 3rd house. So there could be some conversations that could be coming to an end. Maybe you've had some travel or local travel or shifts that you've been working on or planning, or even some conversations that you've been having. Something is coming up here that maybe isn't quite clear, but is coming up here for a shift and change and to kind of come to a close. Something is coming up here to do with maybe some legalities for you, Cancer rising. I do feel like there's some sort of legal issue or thing or travel plan or something you've been like kind of waiting to hear the results from. You do have Mars in your 1st house, which will be forming a nice trine to this lunar eclipse. However, I do feel like something is coming to an end. Something is coming, you're separating from something. I feel like it's a legality. I feel like there's something legal you've been waiting on that is finally going to come up and come to a close, come to an end, come to being visible. What it is that has kind of been bubbling behind the surface, you've been waiting for, is finally coming to the end. Might not happen right on the 14th, but it might really be visible for you for the next few weeks and into the next 6 months, because that's how long it takes between eclipses to kind of show the tangible results. So I do feel like some sort of legality is finally coming to an end, but a positive end. I feel like it will be a positive result. You do have Jupiter squaring this sort of energy, and Jupiter is in your 12th house, so it could be, again, endings. Something big might be coming to an end, something big you're like kind of separating yourself from. Might feel a lot, might feel overwhelming, so just be cautious of that. Just to know that going into this month, there's a lot of retrograde energy, so just anything that's coming up, it might not be clean cut, might not be super clear. On the 15th of March, Mercury will actually be stationing retrograde in your Aries 10th house. So again, conversations that you may have been having that may have been coming to a close. Whatever is coming up will likely be some sort of issue that's kind of been revisited over the next few weeks. So you could have been having conversations to do with your career or public things is coming up again for you to talk about. It's not quite finished just yet. On the 20th of March, the Sun will move into your Aries 10th house, so that again, a focus on your career, your achievements. Something is quite public for you this month, Cancer rising. I know that's not fantastic news. It's not the best. You probably don't really enjoy that, but something is coming up here for you, Cancer rising, that you're like, you have to focus on, you have to put your energy into. It's kind of just, it has to happen. And now it's happening. Then on the 27th of March, Venus will be regressing back into your Pisces 9th house. This is a nice energy. I feel like it's kind of smoothing over those issues for you, smoothing over that news, kind of in a positive kind of band-aid on the issue. So it's kind of a nice energy, because then we do head into our final eclipse, our new moon solar eclipse. It is happening in your 10th house of Aries on the 29th of March. This is that wrapping up of that energy that you've kind of been experiencing these past few years, putting a nice red bow on it. It's finishing up over the next 6 months. You'll likely see the kind of shifts and changes. You've undergone a huge transformation to do with your career and public achievements over the past 2 years. So you're kind of finally seeing that come to fruition. We're finally seeing the end result here. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury will regress back into your Pisces 9th house. So again, these conversations that I was saying is coming back up to the surface. This issue or thing that what is ever coming up for you, Cancer rising, is not quite over just yet. I'm sorry to say this, but it is a nicer energy. It might be a little bit like unsure. There's like some uncertainty here. Things are not quite clear. Things will get clearer next month and into the following month, but right now it's a bit up in the air. Because then on the 31st, Neptune will be moving into your Aries 10th house. This is a big shift. It won't stay here. It will move back and forth between your 10th and 9th house over the next couple of years, but it will be in your 10th house for the next 7 years in a little bit. So there's this new creative energy that's coming to do with your career. There's this new spiritual energy. Maybe you're feeling like it's inspired to to manifest or shift and change things differently, connect with different people, put yourself out there in a new and unique way. Maybe things are a little bit mysterious when it comes to your career. People aren't quite sure what it is you do, but you kind of might like it that way. It kind of could feel just quite interesting and a new breath of fresh air when it comes to do with your public career and achievement. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Cancer rising. Hard work, commitment and perseverance, which I do feel like this month of March for you, Cancer rising, is going to be a month of a bit of hard work and perseverance. Persevere through this bit of challenging energy that could be coming up for you this month, because it will get better. It will feel a lot easier. Just get through these retrogrades. It's going to be a bit better after that. So all up for you, Cancer rising. There could be a focus on some legalities coming to a close. Things are a bit uncertain this month. These eclipses could be quite tricky and challenging for you. There's something you needed to let go of that could feel a bit overwhelming. And there is also a focus on your career and some new energy coming through for your career at the end of the month. So for Leo and Leo rising, this month will be a month of focusing on your 8th house and your 9th house. There will be a focus on your 8th house of finances, because the North Node has recently moved into this house for you. So this house of the 8th house of finances, shared resources, intimacy around money and around intimate connections within our lives, and connections with magic and the occult and sort of the taboo areas of society. So this will be a focus for you these next few months and into next year, with the eclipses happening on this axis for you kicking off this month. So the beginning of the month on the 2nd, Venus will station retrograde in your 9th house of Aries. So there could be some travel plans or legalities or connections with people from overseas that could be coming up to revisit or review, look at. Maybe isn't the best time to plan travel or to go on travel with Venus being retrograde in this house for you, but there just could be some like reconnecting with people that you've kind of fallen out of contact with potentially. On the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries 10th house, so conversations around these areas will likely come to the surface. Mercury will be stationing retrograde in this house for you later this month, so whatever is coming up right now, the conversations that you're having, could come back up to the surface to review over the next few weeks. Then on the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 2nd house, so something to do with your financial access is coming up to the surface. I feel like this eclipse is maybe identifying streams of income, or how you make your money, or how you align with clients or your business. If you have a business, if you're a business owner, maybe is not feeling much more in alignment with your values anymore. Your values are likely shifting and changing, and you're ready to call in new work that maybe aligns better. I feel like you're wanting to call in work that is more ethically aligned with you, that maybe you're really calling in how you make your money in a way that you're able to give back and be of service to your community more. Maybe you're wanting to have that deeper spiritual connection to the way you make your money, or maybe you're just wanting to have some stability when it comes to your finances in some way. Things have like you felt uncertain or up in the air. Maybe you're really craving that stability, and there has been a theme with Saturn already been in this house for you, that I feel like whatever is coming up around this eclipse is likely going to be like for the long haul. Saturn is a long-term planning, so I feel like maybe you're really looking into the future and you're wanting to create a financial plan to set you up to do with how it aligns with your values and making your money in a way that feels ethically right for you, that maybe you're is in alignment with your spiritual beliefs too. On the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 9th house, like I mentioned earlier. So whatever conversations will be coming up for you or have been coming up for you will likely be revisited, or just likely maybe feel a little bit tricky, challenging, or just something is coming up here, maybe out of the blue. Maybe you had been working on some legal things that are now coming up for you to look at in some way. Maybe out of the blue travel plans are coming up for you that you kind of forgotten about, or you have travel coming up. Just make sure you allow enough time for things to shift and change, or to be delayed in case they are. On the 20th of March, the Sun will be moving into your Aries 9th house, so again identifying and putting putting some energy and vitality into this area for you. You could be feeling like this is a big focus now. It wasn't so much a focus before, but now all things are go and things are kind of happening out of the blue and out of where you weren't really expecting them to happen. On the 27th of March, Venus will regress back into your Pisces 8th house. This is a nice energy. Venus does love being in Pisces. It is in retrograde, so it could just be bringing up maybe the financial plans you had in place, really looking at how it is that you're going with them. Maybe you're wanting to create them. Maybe now you're identifying where it is that your shortfalls are, that you're really needing to put more energy and work into. On the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will be happening in your Aries 9th house. So again, wrapping up the past couple of years. So finally putting a nice red bow on the challenges and shifts and changes that have been coming up for you to do with your connections with people from overseas travel, foreign cultures, or even to do with legalities or higher study as well. So if you have been studying, you're kind of potentially coming to the end of your studies. You're kind of ready to move on and implement the changes that you have been working on and working through. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury will be regressing into your Pisces 8th house. So the conversations and planning and ideas, you may be likely coming up with a whole bunch of new plans and a whole bunch of ideas that you may be rethinking to do with connecting or bringing in more finances or stability into your life. So then on the 30th of March, Mercury will be regressing back into your Pisces 8th house. So maybe those conversations or plans or ideas you're ready to put into place, put into motion to do with how you make your income and your financial sources and how you make your money and align with a career, or start planning towards a career, or identifying where it is you want to reconnect or revisit to do with how you make your money and your financial plan. On the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your Aries 9th house. This is a shift and change for you. Maybe you're starting to get creative when it is connecting with people from different outlooks in life. Maybe you're ready to start some study or feeling creatively inspired. This is a long-term transit, and Neptune won't be fully here. We'll regress back into your Pisces 8th house for a bit and then back into your Aries 9th house for a little bit. So it is a longer term transit. You might not feel this energy straight away, but it is likely bringing a bit of creativity, a bit of maybe disillusionment, potentially some mystery to the part of the 9th house in your life. So there could be some challenging energy or some interesting energy coming up for you with this transit. Let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you. This one came up. It jumped out of the deck. It says rest, to give yourself time to recuperate. Rest has been quite a key message for a lot of signs. It isn't necessarily one that's come up for you, but you do have Mars in your 12th house, maybe really pushing you to rest. It is positively aspecting a lot of planets right now, but rest is a key theme for you, Leo and Leo rising. So make sure you're incorporating that into your daily routine and ensuring you're getting enough rest this month, because I feel like it's kind of going to be quite an intense month for many of us. So all up for you, Leo and Leo rising. This will be a month of focusing on your finances, making that financial plan, putting ideas into place, or really just revisiting where you're currently at and where you want to be. There's going to be some shifts and changes to do with maybe some higher study, legalities, or travel and connecting with people from a foreign culture this month. Virgo and Virgo rising. March is going to be a month of focusing on your 7th and 8th houses. There's a shift and change happening to do with your romantic partnerships, with your one-to-one connections and your clientele in your life. This is to do with the North Node recently moved into your Pisces 7th house, Virgo rising. So there's some shifting and changing happening to how you identify and how you connect with those in your life. The beginning of the month, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 8th house, so there could be some revisiting and changes and just focus on your finances, how you're making your money and how you're connecting with people, and how are these connections feeling to do with how you make your money as well. But there could be relationships that are coming back up to the surface that maybe kind of dissipated a little bit and now coming back up to look at, or maybe your spending or how you're investing your money could be a key priority for you. Maybe you're looking at that financial plan and seeing how it's tracking and where it is you want to be and how far far it is that you've gone off the rails, or have you stayed on track. And on the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries 8th house, so you could be having conversations or ideas or thought processes, or really looking at and really having those hard conversations to do with your finances, your shared resources, whatever is coming up here right now will be a key focus these next few weeks and into next month, because Mercury will be stationing retrograde in this house for you this month. On the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 1st house, so there is something that's coming to a close here to do with your sense of self, your identity, and your relationships. So something is coming up for you right now, Virgo rising, that's kind of like a final culmination of something. You're maybe coming to a final culmination with looking at the clients that you're working with. Are these clients aligning with you? Are you aligning with the correct clientele in your life? How is your romantic partnerships looking? If you're married, your marriage is likely going to undergo some really positive, intense, fated changes over the next few months. So this is going to be identifying what needs to come to a close, shift, and culmination over these next few months, because eclipse energy does take 6 months to manifest. So this is where this energy will be happening for you. This eclipse likely feels quite personal for you, Virgo rising, so just keep that in mind. It could feel quite intense. There is some really positive angles happening during this eclipse energy, but this month is likely going to feel quite intense for you. Then on the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde. So Mercury is your chart ruler, Virgo rising, so just to be conscious of this, Mercury will be retrograde in your 8th house of Aries. So this will be, again, maybe bringing back up to the surface the conversations that you've been starting to have to do with your finances, or maybe you're just really ready to look at and really revisit where you're at. It's a big theme of finances for you this month, Virgo rising. On the 20th of March, the sun will also be moving into your Aries 8th house, so this will be identifying again and really invigorating this area in life for you. Are you aligning with work that's connecting with your values? How are you investing in yourself and those around you? How are you investing in your relationships this month, Virgo rising? Then on the 27th of March, Venus will be regressing back into your Pisces 7th house. This is a really lovely energy. Venus does love being in Pisces. It is retrograde, but it could be bringing this really nice harmonious energy to the somewhat challenging energy that you have been feeling around the lunar eclipse in Virgo. So then on the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will be happening in your Aries 8th house. So this is kind of putting that nice big red bow on the challenges and shifts and changes that were happening for you over the last couple of years to do with your finances. So you're likely going to start seeing all that hard work that you've been working towards, maybe making that financial plan solid and clear for you, or really invigorated to make those changes that you've needed to make. Maybe you're now starting to see the fruits of your labor start to manifest and gain traction. Maybe all the investing that you've been doing is starting to pay off, Virgo rising. On the 30th of March, Mercury will be regressing back into your Pisces 7th house, so you might start to have those conversations or bring to the surface how you're wanting to communicate with your clients more. Maybe you are having clients, or those conversations you've had maybe last month come back to the surface to kind of come up for revisiting, or just they're not quite finished just yet. So if you are signing any legal papers or taking on new clients, just make sure you're double, triple checking everything, because Mercury is fun like that, especially as your chart ruler. Things might not be as clear as they are, especially with Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Then on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your Aries 8th house, so this will provide this nice creative energy to do with your finances. It could, however, create a little bit of illusionment or disillusionment when it comes to your financial status or your finances. Maybe you're just not quite clear on how things are looking. So this will be an interesting transit. It will be a long-term transit, so it won't show up straight away, but you could have some new creative ideas or creative things come through for you that you might not have thought of before. It also really maybe connecting spiritually with your finances and how you make money in a deeper way that maybe you hadn't seen on the surface. Maybe it's feeling a little bit deeper, that more deeper connection to do with how you make your money. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Virgo and Virgo rising. This one popped out, patience. A bit tricky sometimes, Virgo rising, I get it. A long road ahead, reward awaits. So Patience this month, Virgo rising. Things will work out. There's a lot of retrograde energy, that retrograde in Aries for you and retrograding through to Pisces. That Mercury retrograde in Aries and with it regressing back into Pisces is going to be a little tricky. You will feel this. A lot of energy in your first house, a lot of energy with your chart ruler. So patience this month, Virgo rising. Things will start to dissipate into next month, so hang in there, but this month will be a little tricky, I'm sorry to say. There will be a big focus on some shifts, changes, and culminations to do with yourself and your finances and your relationships this month. There's a big focus on your finances with the eclipses happening in your 7th house and 8th house, so there's something that's coming to the surface here, and it will be visible over the next 6 months for you, Virgo and Virgo rising. So for Libra and Libra rising, this month of March, there will be quite a large focus on your 6th house and 7th house, with the North Node in Pisces recently have moved into your 6th house of work, daily routines, and co-workers. This area in life for you is going to be going under some deeply fated transformation over the next few months and into next year. At the beginning of the month, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 7th house, so there could be some renegotiations or other relationships or old clients that might be popping up out of the blue during this Venus retrograde through this house for you, especially being your chart ruler. You're likely feeling like things are starting to maybe slow down a little bit. Maybe you're reworking things that you have been working on with clients, if you do work with clientele, if you have a business, or if you're married. In your marriage, you might find that you might be rekindling some sort of flame, or just having a chance to sort of take it a bit slower and really connect inward in how you're feeling in your marriage or partnership in your life. Then on the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries 7th house. So this could be a time when these conversations might start to bubble up to the surface. Mercury currently is now in its shadow period in this house for you. So just be conscious that whatever is coming up now will likely be a theme into Mercury retrograde this month, later on this month. On the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 12th house. So this will be something maybe coming to the surface that needs to come to an end. It could be to do with an old clientele that's not working, a workplace that feels no longer aligned for you, or maybe you've just outgrown something in your life. Something is coming to a shift and change here. Maybe old health issues are coming to the surface that you're finally ready to address. Could be new health issues are coming to the surface. Something is coming to a culmination point around this lunar eclipse in Virgo. It is obviously the first lunar eclipse in Virgo on this axis for you since 2015, 2017, and also earlier than that, around 2008 and 2007 period, and 2006. So it has been a little while since you've felt this energy, since we've all felt this energy, but this maybe started to show up for you around the end of last year when we did have that solar eclipse in Pisces. So pay attention to what's coming up now, as these issues or themes are likely going to be a key player for you over these next few months and into next year. But something's coming to a culmination point. It could be to do with work. I feel like because Mercury is in your 7th house of Aries, and it is quite a big prominent energy, as well as Venus this month. So I feel like it is something to do with work, something to do with a contractual agreement. Maybe a work colleague or old work situation is no longer working out for you, Libra rising, so maybe it's time to finally close it off or finish up that chapter in life for you. It is a fated change, so no matter what you're doing, you probably couldn't stop this change. It's probably needing to happen in order to shift you into the right path. It likely is better for your mental and physical health too. On the 15th of March, Mercury will station retrograde in your 7th house of Aries, so I feel like what was coming up, or is coming up around the time of the lunar eclipse, obviously also remembering that the lunar eclipse takes 6 months to fully manifest in our lives. I feel like this energy of Mercury stationing retrograde in your 7th house is bringing up those conversations that you're needing to have, bringing up that energy that you're needing to sort of put into place, and maybe get the ball rolling on sort of things that you can review, like reminding yourself why it is you want to change the situation. It's finally come to maybe that tipping point for you that you're like, I'm finally ready to move on and let this go. Maybe you don't do it just right now. Maybe just wait until Mercury is direct, just so that things are smoother and it's not going to happen quite so suddenly or unexpectedly for others and those around you. I just recommend waiting until Mercury is direct. But if you have any things that need to happen urgently, or you urgently need to sign contracts, just double, triple check them, as we can't put life on pause for Mercury retrograde. On the 20th of March, the Sun will move into your Aries 7th house, which will again illuminate the relationships in your life, your one-to-one contractual agreement. So I feel like this is going to be a big theme for you this month, Libra rising. Then on the 27th of March, Venus will move back into your Pisces 6th house. So I do like this energy. Venus loves being in Pisces, and I feel like this is kind of like smoothing over all those challenging feelings that could have been coming up for you around the lunar eclipse, or over this whole month and into the next few weeks. I feel like really lean into this energy if you're wanting to invest in your health or a workout routine, or reignite the energy around those things in your life. This is a lovely transit to do so. Just remember not to make any permanent changes with Venus in retrograde, especially being your ruling planet. On the 29th of March, we do have the new moon solar eclipse happening in your Aries 7th house, which is finally wrapping up those eclipses on your ascendant and descendant. You can breathe a little bit of a breath of fresh air now. This is putting that nice big red bow on that finishing energy for you within your relationships. Maybe if you are married, your marriage has undergone a deep transformation over these past few months. Maybe you're kind of coming to some sort of healing point, or an end point, or just a point of where you're both ready to just sort of grow together or separate together. It's kind of like that energy where you're kind of ready to either let go or keep moving forward. Again, it might not be present around the time of the 29th. It could be present over the next 6 months, but whatever has been coming up for you these past 2 years is likely coming to an end. It's kind of that final chapter in this part of your life, in this journey over these past few months. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury will regress back into your Pisces 6th house. So there could be some confusion around conversations. Maybe you're not thinking quite clearly. Maybe you're feeling a little bit muddled in the decisions that you need to make. Maybe you are having conversations around your health, your work, or things that need to come to a close, or new things that are coming in, or new issues potentially. So just to be cautious of this energy. Mercury will station direct next month, but it will still be retrograde for a little while longer. Then on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your Aries 7th house. So this is a lovely energy to get creative and really deepen those intimacy feelings around your relationships. Maybe the clients in your life are providing you with more creativity or different ideas or perspectives that you weren't privy to before, and maybe you're just feeling a little bit more creatively inspired when it comes to your relationships. Maybe you are sort of putting on those rose-tinted glasses for a little bit. Maybe you're not thinking so black and white when it comes to partnerships. Maybe you are thinking a little bit more grey. Neptune is the planet of illusionment, so maybe you're just ready to tap into that energy a little bit more. But let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Libra and Libra rising. Jumped out. Gratitude. This card has come up in the readings for this month. Gratitude. Appreciate present blessings. I feel like that's very much that Piscean energy, just appreciating those blessings that you have. Maybe things feel a little bit tricky right now, especially in maybe your relationships or your partnerships in your life, but just appreciate the blessings that you do have, especially with Jupiter squaring this energy and Mars squaring this energy. It can feel a little bit tricky. Things might be feeling like they're blowing out of proportion in a way for you, Libra rising, but just hold on, hang in there. Have some gratitude to what beautiful things you do have in your life, because that will create more opportunity for more wonderful things to come your way. So all up for you, Libra rising. This is a month focusing on your health, well-being, work issues, maybe coming to a close, relationships, clientele work, and maybe shifting and changing of these areas in life for you over the next few months. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this month there'll be a focus on your 5th house and your 6th house. You have had the North Node move into your Pisces 5th house recently, so this is indicating that there's going to be some deeply transformative and potent energy when it comes to your 5th house of joy, your children, creativity, what lights you up and brings you happiness. This is going to be undergoing some sort of change and transformation. Maybe you're ready to dive a bit deeper and and connect to your creativity more over the next couple of years. Leading into the beginning of the month, we do have Venus stationing retrograde in your Aries 6th house. So there could be some challenges when it comes to finances with your work, or maybe with your health. Maybe you are needing to invest some time and money into looking at maybe old health issues or work issues, or just something to do with so maybe something's coming to a close, something's coming to an end here. Maybe you're needing to sort of finalize some sort of healing or issue that has been coming to the surface that you're really needing to work on or put time or money into. This is likely going to be a theme over the next few weeks while Venus is retrograde. The 3rd of March, Mercury will move into your Aries 6th house. So there could be conversations that you're having around your work, with your colleagues, with your daily work routine, or with your health. So maybe you are having these conversations, and whatever is coming up here too, just to note that Mercury will be stationing retrograde shortly. So all these conversations or ideas or just projects or things that you're working on, maybe they're coming up to the surface for a reason, that they're going to be revisited during Mercury's retrograde, because it is in its shadow period now that it's moved into Aries. On the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 11th house. So this is an important lunar eclipse. So you haven't had an eclipse on this axis in Virgo. We have had a partial eclipse in Pisces at the end of last year, but this eclipse in Virgo, especially if you have any personal Virgo planets or Pisces planets and your personal planets, this is going to feel really impactful for you. This is a really interesting change, because you are going to be focusing on letting go of maybe situations or not letting go of relationships or social circles or networks that you may have been a part of for a long time, that you're finally ready to shift out of. They're no longer aligning with you. You're needing to redirect this energy. Maybe you're redirecting or rethinking your hopes, dreams, and wishes that maybe were goals for you in the past that maybe don't feel aligned with you. They don't creatively light you up anymore. This is going to be a year into these next few months and into next year of really focusing your energy into your creative pursuits, into the pursuits that really light you up and inspire you. Maybe if you have children or family, you're going to be putting more energy and time into this. Maybe you're just putting more energy into time into your romantic partnerships. You're just really focusing on things that feel good for you. It's finally time to shift and change and maybe bring more of those relationships into your life that do align with these new hobbies or interests that you're starting to dive into. On the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 6th house. So again, like I said, those conversations that could have been coming up to do with your health, your mental health, your well-being, just your co-workers or your work in general, or your daily routines that have been needing to have potentially undergone a transformation, because you have had the North Node here for a long time. So maybe you've had some deeply transformative energy and fated energy that has come up for you, especially around your health. Maybe you're finally having those conversations that you're needing to have. It's kind of starting to take form, and you're just re-looking at things. Maybe you've finally had an answer come back to you. You've finally had a work offer or a work situation come up that you've been waiting on that maybe has taken its time to get here. Now it's maybe coming back up to the surface. On the 20th of March, the Sun will then also move into your Aries 6th house. So this will again light up this area in life for you and really bring a focus to your health, your well-being, your daily routines, and your co-workers. On the 27th of March, Venus will regress back into your Pisces 5th house. This is a double whammy for you, Scorpio rising, because Venus loves being in Pisces and she loves being in the 5th house. So this is a really nice energy if you're wanting to invest your time, energy, and money into what makes you feel good. Maybe you're having relationships, like romantic partnerships, just rekindle or reignite. Maybe you are starting to meet people that maybe you had a bit of contact with before and they've kind of fizzled out. Maybe they're coming back into your life again. On the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will happen in your Aries 6th house. So this is the final wrapping up of that Libra Aries axis eclipses that you've been having in these houses for you over the past few months, or the past couple of years actually. So this is like putting a nice red bow on this energy for you and really wrapping that up. So it's really taking time to take note of how far you've come. Maybe you've done some deep healing. Maybe you've really started to heal those ailments in your life. Maybe you've just shifted and changed your work and your daily routines into more of an alignment that inspires you and lights you up and helps you feel confident and assured in what you're doing. And maybe you've just undergone a deeply transformation energy to do with your your health in general, and that includes well-being, mental health. And so this is really going to be manifesting over the next 6 months, because it does take about 6 months for eclipse energy to show up tangibly. So maybe this is coming up for you over the next few months, really finally wrapping that area in life up for you that you've been working on over the last couple of years. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury will be regressing back into your Pisces 5th house. So those conversations that you might have been having with people, or maybe some hobbies that you've been interested in, or if you have been sort of researching things to like really put your time and energy into, this is a lovely transit. But it could be confusing if you are having conversations, especially with maybe, like I said, romantic partnerships that have come back up to the surface. Maybe you're not too clear or too sure on where they're headed. I wouldn't make any solid major life choices right now, just because we both have Venus and Mercury both retrograde. So we'll just wait until they've moved out of that retrograde period to really make those solid decisions. But enjoy what's coming up now and see where it goes. On the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving out of your 5th house and into your 6th house. So this could provide some creative thinking around maybe how your daily routine looks. Maybe creating some more space in your daily routine rather than it being so regimented. Maybe you are able to go with the flow a bit more. This is a longer term transit, so this energy will be around for the long haul and maybe won't be quite present straight away, but it could be urging you to have a bit more spaciousness in your day, to have a bit more time where you can just sort of tap into your creativity and tune into how you're really feeling before maybe completing such a regimented routine or regimented health routine. Maybe you're just allowing yourself to tune into your body and how you're feeling and going with those vibes for the day. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Scorpio and Scorpio rising. That just jumped out. Set intentions, plant the seeds and watch them grow, which I do love this energy for this new moon in your 6th house. Well, it's an eclipse, a new moon solar eclipse, and then also the lunar eclipse in your 5th house. But we love to set intentions around the new moon because this is such a fertile time, especially with eclipse energy. It is challenging. I wouldn't say necessarily set massive intentions around eclipses because they can turn out a little bit crazy or a little bit not so that how we've been wanting the situation to turn out. But set some intentions this month. This is a good month to take stock of where you're at. We've got a lot of refocusing energy, so really setting those intentions into where you want to be and working on a plan to get there. So set those intentions, Scorpio rising. That's a interesting energy for you this month. But all up, the energies that are major this month for you is really focus on your romantic partnerships, what lights you up, your joys, bring your hobbies. If you have children in your life, these will also be a big focus for you this month. And also your health routines, your daily work routines and work will also be, and your health as well will also be a big focus for you this month, Scorpio rising. So for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this energy of March will be happening throughout your 4th and 5th houses. You've recently had the North Node move into your Pisces 4th house, really identifying the shift and change and focus on your home and family life. Kicking off at the beginning of the month, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 5th house. Venus does love being in the 5th house. It is going to be maybe a little challenging with her stationing retrograde, of course, but this energy is still a bit mitigated. Maybe you're just refocusing on relationships in your life, maybe situations is maybe coming back up to the surface for you to review, or you're just reinvesting in your hobbies and what lights you up and brings you joy. And if you have children in your life, maybe situations with your children are maybe just coming up to the surface, and maybe a more positive way. Venus is obviously a benefic planet, but this could just be coming up to the surface for you to review or just pay attention to. On the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries 5th house, so this will maybe have conversations that are coming up to the surface around your hobbies and what lights you up, what brings you joy, your creative endeavors. If you have got any creative endeavors on the go, this is a nice energy to really get the ball rolling on those. Just to note as well, Mercury is now in its shadow period, so just whatever conversations are coming up right now could be of focus during Mercury's retrograde cycle. Then on the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 10th house. So this is an energy of what's being shifted and changing and coming to a culmination exclamation point for you, Sagittarius rising. I would say that you're going to be really focusing on the balance between work and home life. Maybe your career is starting to fizzle out and you're wanting to shift and change it in some way. Maybe you're just wanting to redirect this energy and maybe focus on your home and family life more, or just being maybe out of the spotlight, working sort of behind the scenes, not necessarily behind the scenes, but more not so in a public view for a little while, maybe just withdrawing for a bit and really focusing on creating that really inspirational foundation to work from when it comes to your career. Or maybe you're just wrapping up a career and you're ready to just pull back and really focus on what really brings you joy within your family life, within your home life, and just maybe focusing on that for a little while. On the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 5th house. So like I said, those conversations that maybe were happening at the beginning of the month could be coming back up to the surface for you, just to revisit. If you're signing anything or agreeing to anything, just be cautious around this time because Mercury will be retrograde. Venus is also retrograde, so just to be cautious. Mercury will station direct next month, so once Mercury has stationed direct, that is fine to continue. But if you do have any important things come up during this Mercury retrograde period, just triple check them and read the fine print. Then on the 20th of March, the Sun will move into your Aries 5th house, illuminating this area for you. So the 5th house is going through some really heavy transits at the moment, so this is a big focus for you and has been a big focus for you for a wee while with those eclipses there. And we do have one final eclipse happening in your 5th house, but before that, on the 27th of March, Venus will regress back into your Pisces 4th house. So this is a nice sort of mitigating energy for those challenging energies or situations that could have been coming up around that eclipse. So this is maybe smoothing those out. Maybe you're wanting to invest your time, energy, or resources into your home life. Maybe you are sort of looking at, if you're looking at investing in property, I feel like this is a big thing that could be coming up. I feel like maybe you're sort of getting news or situations could be coming up out of the back up to the surface, or back up to for you to see more with Venus regressing into this house for you. So if you have that energy coming up for you, or if you have been working on that, this could be coming up for you towards the end of the month. On the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will be happening in your Aries 5th house, and will be wrapping up those eclipses that you've been having in your 5th and 11th houses these past couple of years. So whatever was coming up for you to refocus on what lights you up or brings you joy, this will be coming to that final point, that new, you're ready maybe to step into that new phase of life that you've been working so hard to manifest or bring into your life. I feel like this new moon energy is spicy. It is that final hurdle that we maybe need to get over, especially with Venus and Mercury both retrograde still, and some pretty challenging angles happening to this new moon eclipse. So it maybe isn't quite the most pleasant energy, but I do feel like it is sort of that wrapping up energy that is really important to step into that next phase in life for you. And it is happening in quite a nice house. So I feel like even though it's challenging, it's still like a positive fated change. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury will regress back into your Pisces 4th house. So maybe those conversations, again, like I said, to do with your home and family life are coming back up to the surface. Again, if you're investing in property, this could be coming up to the surface too. But as always, triple check anything before signing. On the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your Aries 5th house. So this could be bringing some new creative energy or new creative vibes to your hobbies or interests or romantic partnerships. Maybe you are sort of willing to just put on the rose-colored glasses for a little bit and not be so black and white and thinking around them. Maybe you are just ready to tune into the energy that is not necessarily seen but more felt. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Sagittarius rising. Oh, I love that one. This jumped up face up. It is the star. Blessings, inspiration, time to shine. I love that energy. I feel like that's such Sagittarius energy. So with this nice energy happening as well in your 5th and 4th houses, those are quite nice houses, especially the 5th house. So with the eclipse happening in your 5th house, maybe it is that time to shine for you, Sagittarius rising. Maybe it is that time. I mean, if your ascendant is in the degrees that the eclipse is happening at, so it's happening at 9 degrees of Aries. If your ascendant is at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, it's going to form a pretty strong trine to this eclipse. So if even if it's within 5 degrees of that 9 degrees, it's still going to be forming a trine. It's going to form a sign-based trine anyway, but a degree-based trine is going to be really potentially really positive and impactful for you. So it likely is your time to shine, Sagittarius rising. So this month is going to be an interesting month for you. So all up, it's going to be focused on your home, family, maybe some shifts and changes to do with your work, and a focus on your hobbies, your interests, your family, your children if you have any in your life, your romantic partnerships, and what brings you joy this month, Sagittarius rising. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this energy of March will be happening throughout your 4th and 3rd houses. The North Node has recently moved into your Pisces 3rd house. You're currently undergoing some deep transformative energy when it comes to how you communicate and express yourself, or even some study that you're thinking about doing. On the 2nd of March, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 4th house, so maybe some investing or time or energy that you have been putting into your family life, into your home, will be coming up for maybe revisitation. Some sort of energy is coming up to maybe slow down a little bit here. If you are thinking of investing in property, I would just recommend slowing down and just really rethinking everything, really re-looking at the finances and seeing if everything is correct and aligned properly before making any important decisions or investments. Then on the 3rd of March, Mercury will move into your Aries 4th house. So there is a conversations happening to do with your home and family life, maybe to do with the property that you're thinking of, if you are looking at doing that, or even some renovations if you're looking at doing anything to your house. Maybe you're looking at just connecting with your family in a different way, or connecting with people within your family unit. So something's coming up here. Whatever conversations are coming up for you around this time will likely be a key theme around the Mercury retrograde period kicking off later this month. Then on the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 9th house. These eclipses are really prominent because we haven't had eclipses on this axis for a few years. We did get a little bit of a prelude at the end of last year as to what sort of energy to expect over the next couple of years. So maybe there are some big shifts and changes to do with your local travel, how you communicate and express yourself, connecting with people from overseas, or some legalities. If you are undergoing any legal shifts and changes, or things to do with that, or if you're thinking of traveling, going overseas, or some higher study, maybe things are coming to a culmination point here. Maybe you're kind of coming to that end point that you're finally ready to let go, or shift and change and move on, or it's starting to get to that point. Obviously, eclipse energy shows up over a 6-month time period, so maybe it's not quite visible right now, but it will be visible for you over the next few months. On the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 4th house. So again, those conversations that you might have been having to do with your family or your home or property, or in renovating, or something to do with your home base, could be coming up again to the surface. So whatever was going to come up around the beginning of the month could be coming up again, and could be a big key theme this Mercury retrograde period. On the 20th of March, the Sun will be moving into your Aries 4th house. So again, illuminating this energy for you. Maybe you're really putting your time, energy, and resources into your home and family right now. Like, things are kind of all going there. It's all focused for you right now, Capricorn rising. And on the 27th of March, Venus will be regressing back into your Pisces 3rd house. So this is a lovely energy. Venus does love being in Pisces. So maybe you're just relooking at any study or any conversations, or how you've been putting yourself out there. Maybe you're just relooking at how you can do that in maybe a different way, or a different perspective on things. On the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will be happening in your Aries 4th house. So it will be wrapping up that energy that has been quite prominent for you over the past couple of years. It's kind of coming to the end, it's coming to fruition. You're finally ready to move on and get out of that sort of energy and move on to the next phase. You've done a lot of healing and a lot of work in this area in life for you, especially around your family and home base. So it's kind of like clearing the slate. You're kind of ready to call in that new energy, really step into that new energy that you've been working so hard on building and shifting and changing. On the 30th of March, Mercury will regress back into your Pisces 3rd house. So the conversations that you could have been having are really coming up to the surface now, to do with your local travel or your extended family. Maybe you are having conversations, or situations are coming up that could have been quite prominent for you at the beginning of the year. Maybe they're coming up again, and you're just not too sure maybe where things are you're at, because Mercury will be a little bit confused in Pisces. It is a little bit of a challenging energy for Mercury, but so try not to make any solid decisions or sign any contracts during this time. But if you have to, just double, triple check everything and get maybe a second pair of eyes to look over it all. On the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your Aries 4th house. So you could be looking at your home and family life or your property through a more creative lens. Maybe you're ready to sort of lean in and tune into the more unseen energies and really put on those rose-colored glasses and just appreciate things for what you have, rather than constantly seeking out new ways of improving things. Maybe just being more appreciative and like enjoying the energy that you have around you, and just maybe looking at maybe your home space through a more creative lens as well. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Lots of cards jumped out there, but this one was calling to me. So change, new season of life, and I do feel like it is such a change. It is a change for all of us, but I feel like Capricorn rising, you are going through that big change. The node, if you have the North Node has been squaring your Ascendant and Descendant, and the South Node when they were in Libra and Aries. So I feel like this is a next change for you, not feeling so much pressure as you did the last couple of years. It's kind of shifting in a way that could feel a little bit more positive, because it's starting to sextile your Ascendant and Descendant, and trine your Ascendant and Descendant. So it's a nicer energy. It's definitely a happier energy. I definitely feel like it's a little bit more positive energy for you. So this is a change. It's a new season of life, and I feel like it's kicking off this month. So all up for you, Capricorn rising, there is going to be a focus on wrapping up something to do with your home and family life. A refocus on how you communicate and express yourself and put yourself out there. It has something to do with letting go of some sort of travel legality, or something to do with letting go of some study that you're finally ready to finish up and wrap up this month. Aquarius and Aquarius rising. This energy of March will be happening throughout your 3rd and 2nd houses. There's been a big focus on your 2nd house of values and finances, as the North Node has recently moved into this house for you. On the 2nd of March, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your Aries 3rd house. So there could be some conversations or local extended family or local travel that could be coming up for you to like reinvest your energy or time and resources into, or maybe you're just re-looking at things through a different lens. You're maybe have been wanting to communicate and express yourself in a certain way, but now you're kind of rethinking that. Is that the viewpoint and perspective that you want to express yourself in, or do you want to shift and change this to something a little different? On the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries 3rd house, so this could be a wonderful time to really get those wheels in motion when it comes to maybe shifting your perspective on something, or how you communicate and express something, or if you're doing any study, this is a lovely energy for that. Just to note that this is the beginning of Mercury's shadow period in its retrograde cycle, so whatever is coming up now will likely come up again for you to look at during Mercury's retrograde period. On the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 8th house, so the financial axis is going to be a really prominent energy for you over the next couple of years, Aquarius rising. So there could be some shifts and changes to how you align yourself with work that really connects with your values, that really helps you feel like you're really giving back in some way, in some sort of capacity to the collective in general. Maybe you're just aligning yourself with work that lights you up on a deeply emotional, spiritual level, but something's coming to the surface here that you're ready to let go of. Maybe you've invested in something that is no longer aligning with your new set of values that you're forming, and you're ready to let this go. Maybe you're letting go of something that's holding you back in terms of going after having that financial stability, having that financial foundation that is set up for the long haul in your life. Saturn's really involved in this eclipse, so it's all about setting up for the long term. So Saturn is a really big energy, so whatever is coming up now that you start to implement over the next 6 months or so will likely be prominent and present maybe more for the long haul as well. Then on the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your Aries third house. So like I said, the conversations that maybe were coming up for you at the beginning of the month are starting to maybe come up again or change, or maybe having another perspective come through that wasn't privy or available to you before. On the 20th of March, the sun will move into your Aries third house, really illuminating this energy for you. Maybe you're really focusing on your energy on how you communicate and express yourself. Maybe you're really wanting to explore locally or explore your neighborhood, or really connect with your extended family in some way. Or maybe you are putting your time, energy and resources into some study that you've been really wanting to do for a while. On the 27th of March, Venus will be regressing back into your Pisces second house. I do like this energy. Venus loves being in Pisces, so I feel like this is another really nice energy happening after this eclipse energy, which could have been a little bit challenging or triggering. Something was coming up to the surface that maybe didn't feel so good that you needed to let go of, but Venus moving into this house for you is kind of smoothing over that energy in a way, maybe bringing some new opportunities for you to network or connect with relationships that are going to align you with the right people that could bring in those new income sources that really align with these new values that you're forming, and could provide something for you for the long term. On the 29th of March, the new moon solar eclipse will be happening in your third house of Aries. Again, this is the final eclipse on this axis for you. It's wrapping this energy up that you've been working through over the last couple of years with a nice big red bow. You're ready to move on. You're ready to shift from this energy, but it's not necessarily right this second, but it is sort of setting you up for the next 6 months that you're really ready to step into this new phase and how you communicate, express yourself and put yourself out there. On the 30th of March, Mercury will regress back into your Pisces second house. So maybe those conversations that were maybe coming up at the beginning of the year, especially with the North Node recently have moved into this house for you, could be coming back up to the surface. Maybe you are having those conversations with networks or people that are sort of pointing you in the right direction, or maybe you're just really wanting to invest in things that really align with your values, to light you up and bring you joy, or align with your creativity in some way. Then on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving into your Aries third house, so bringing in this nice creative energy for how you communicate and express yourself. Maybe you're ready to put yourself out there, or ready to maybe take on a different study, or because you're having this new sense of this new viewpoint come through, that you're ready to maybe invest more time and energy into that. That this is a longer term transit. Neptune isn't going to stay here for a long, solidly. It's going to go back into your second house for a little bit. Once Neptune moves out of your second house of Pisces, maybe you are gaining that clarity that you've been needing around your finances, and you're ready to put on more of a creative view and a creative lens when it comes to how you communicate, express yourself and put yourself out there. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Aquarius and Aquarius rising. Change. I have pulled this card, but it did jump out face up. New season of life. So I feel personally like with Neptune moving out of your second house, that's a very challenging house to have Neptune, the planet of confusion and illusionment, in your house of values and finances. I feel like with Neptune moving out of this house for you, it is going to be a change. It's going to be a new season in life. I feel like with the eclipses happening on your second and eighth houses, such prominent houses for your Aquarius rising, especially with your chart ruler Saturn, your traditional chart ruler, and so closely involved here, I do feel like this is going to be a big shift and a change in life for you. So this is the start of a big change. So buckle up. It's going to be a good change, but it is going to be a change for you, Aquarius rising. So all up, it will be a month of focusing on your finances, your values, how you make your money and your sources of income, along with how you communicate and express yourself and put yourself out there this month, Aquarius rising. Pisces and Pisces rising. This energy of March will be happening throughout your first and second houses. With the North Node recently have moved into your first house of self, this is going to be a month of focusing on you, Pisces rising, which is also not the easiest thing. On the 2nd of March, Venus will be stationing retrograde in your Aries second house, so there could be situations or financial situations that are coming up for you to revisit and refocus on. There could be it's a little bit of a challenging energy with it being in your second house, but it could just be a time of revisiting how you're making your money, and is this aligning with you and aligning with your values, or do you need to change or shift this in some way? Then on the 3rd of March, Mercury will be moving into your Aries second house, so this could be a lovely time to initiate those conversations around changes you want to make, or initiate some sort of energy, or just conversations, maybe putting yourself out there, or going after certain work streams of income that really do align with your values. This is a nice energy to feel really motivated in going after what it is you're wanting to achieve, to do with your financial goals. On the 14th of March, the lunar eclipse will be happening in your Virgo 7th house. So these eclipses are going to be feeling really personal for you, Pisces rising. You had a little bit of a prelude into what that energy was at the end of last year. You've also had Saturn transiting your first house for some time now. This will move later in the year, by the way. But this is going to be heavily involved in this lunar eclipse in Virgo. So there could be a relationship, a client or client work, or a contract that is coming to a close. You likely know what this is, Pisces rising. You've been feeling it for a while, but this is kind of getting the ball rolling. Maybe you're having the news come up close or around the time of the eclipse, or just after. Eclipse energy does take about 6 months to manifest, so whatever is coming up, and again with Saturn so closely involved here, is likely going to be for the long haul. So just to be cautious around this lunar eclipse. It maybe will feel quite draining, quite intense, quite emotional. Just to be aware of this, as this will be happening very closely if you have your ascendant, especially in that 23-degree mark of Pisces. Then on the 15th of March, Mercury will be stationing retrograde in your Aries second house. So maybe those conversations that you initiated are slowing down a little bit, or maybe you're just revisiting old conversations that you might have had. You might have old contracts come up that are maybe aligning you with work that you have been calling in some way. So whatever is coming up at the beginning of the month could be coming up again for you to revisit, to do with this area for you. Then on the 20th of March, the sun will be moving into your Aries second house. So really illuminating the necessity of your finances. How are your finances looking? Do you need to put more energy and time into this? Do you need to build some sort of buffer in some way? There's something coming up here to do with your finances this month, especially around the 20th. Then on the 27th of March, Venus will be regressing back into your Pisces first house. I like this energy for sort of smoothing over those challenges that maybe were coming up around the lunar eclipse for you, Pisces rising. So this is a nice energy for really investing in you if you're needing to just do some self-care or just want to reinvest in yourself in some way. Lovely energy to do so. I will just mention, just avoid making any sudden irrational changes on a whim, especially to do with your appearance, especially if it's permanent, as it may turn out not quite what you're wanting, or maybe once Venus is direct, you're not kind of loving it anymore. So just proceed with caution. Then on the 29th of March, we do have the new moon solar eclipse happening in your second house of finances. This house, like I said, has been undergoing a deeply transformative change for you over the past couple of years, especially your second and eighth houses. It maybe has been a bit of a sigh of relief to have the north node and south node move out of these houses for you, but this is the final eclipse happening here. So this will be like putting a big red bow on all the changes and healing you've been doing to do with your values. Maybe your values are completely different now than they were a couple of years ago. Maybe you're really just identifying new things that are important to you, and you're wanting to invest more of your time, energy, and money to make those things more of a prominent feature in your life, Pisces rising. So this eclipse is going to be identifying this new energy for you. It's like this new inspirational, passionate energy coming through that will sort of manifest again over the next 6 months or so. Then on the 30th of March, Mercury will be regressing back into your Pisces first house. So have a think back to last month and at the beginning of the year. What conversations are coming back up to the surface for you to maybe revisit? Maybe you had sort of situations, or maybe something to do with your contractual agreements or your one-to-one clientele. Maybe it's coming back up to the surface, or conversations you've had if you're married and your marriage is coming back up to the surface for you to have a chat about and just to revisit on where that's at and how it's progressing. Then on the 31st of March, Neptune will be moving out of your first house finally into your second house. So there could be some sort of disillusionment or some challenging energy around your finances. It could be also looking at your finances through a more creative lens, looking at things through a more intuitive lens rather than quite black and white. It will be nice having this energy out of your first house for you, as you've likely felt like you've been going under a big personality change the past like 7 years or so. You're likely not the same person that you were. So this is a new cycle. Neptune's not going to be here solidly. It's going to go back and forth between your first house and second house for a little bit until it's solidly in your second house for the next few years. So this is a long-term transit, but you could just be feeling some new creative energy come through to do with your finances. So let's have a look at what the cards have in store for you, Pisces and Pisces rising. Listen, silence your mind and pay attention. It's a really nice energy for you this month, Pisces. I do feel like listening to the intuitive energy that might be coming through for you, especially with a lot of first house transits. Maybe you are really feeling this energy. I also feel like listening to what Neptune sort of kind of has to say for you, especially being, it's not your necessarily chart ruler, but it is kind of your chart ruler being your modern chart ruler, but listening to what sort of messages might come up when it does move out of your first house this month. So all up for you, Pisces and Pisces rising. This is going to be an intense month with the eclipses happening on your ascendant and descendant. So just a big word of caution around that. You're likely going to feel a lot of shifts and changes energetically. It's going to be a really big focus on something coming to an end to do with your financial situation, and something's changing here, and just really refocus on your sense of self as well this month, Pisces rising.